Well, for more insight on the EU's current debt woes and downgrade warnings by Standard & Poor's, let's talk now to Lord Dartmouth, MEP from the UK Independence Party. He's joining us on the line from Brussels. Lord Dartmouth, very good evening. Thanks for being on RT.
Good evening, Kevin.
Let's start, if we can, with this new treaty being pushed then by the French and German leaders in order to create that fiscal union they're talking about. The British side, the British PM, threatening to veto it if the UK's interests aren't protected. Will Britain be heard and safeguarded, more importantly?
Well, there's a new treaty proposal, and there are two things the British Prime Minister should do. One is he should threaten to veto it, and secondly, he should keep his election promise, which was endorsed by the House of Commons, and hold a referendum.
I want to ask you about Standard & Poor's here. We're hearing so much about them lately, just one of the ratings agencies, of course, but this latest one by Standard & Poor's saying its decisions have nothing to do with politics. But hang on, standing back from this a little bit, when they look to threaten to downgrade whole countries if EU leaders don't come up with a comprehensive solution, it kind of looks a bit like political pressure. Fair point or not?
No, I don't think that that's a fair point at all with respect. As you mentioned just now, Standard & Poor's is a rating agency. It just does ratings. Now, Standard & Poor's are, of course, not always right, and they got the subprime mortgages in the United States spectacularly wrong. But the fact of the matter is that when the European political leaders complain about the rating agencies, all they're really doing is shooting the messenger. There is a problem. Standard & Poor's and the other rating agencies are putting their finger on it, and it just is a fact. There are fiscal problems with these countries. And, of course, there's a fiscal problem with my own country, caused by the previous government that trashed the British economy. But I think that's another story.
So, as far as you are concerned tonight, I just want to recap that. You're happy that they're independent and they take into account the heavy gravity of the reports that they come back with and the effect that will have?
Well, the reaction of the European leaders, on the whole, has been to try to stop Standard & Poor's and the other rating agencies actually doing their business and giving ratings. No, the politics is not in the rating agencies. It's all with the political leaders of the Eurozone countries. Now, what about France and Germany?
What about Germany? Of course, the financial powerhouse of Europe, now on the at-risk list too. Its bonds have always been considered the safest in the Eurozone. Has the domino effect really reached as far as the bloc's largest and most stable economy now, do you think?
Well, if S&P are right, and it's their job, in the same way that you do your job and I try and do my job, if they are right, it is clearly the case that the contagion which began in Greece, went to Portugal and the Republic of Ireland, has now got to Spain and Italy, even seems to be threatening Germany itself. The fact of the matter is that the euro is a contraption that should never have got underway in the first place, and now we're seeing the consequences. And the only question mark is how much damage is it actually going to do, not just to the Eurozone countries, but to the European countries outside the Eurozone, in which I include Russia, and also indeed to the economies of countries in the rest of the world.
Do you think, finally, the German and French leaders are going to use this latest downgrade by S&P as a lever, maybe, to push through their plan for fiscal union at this forthcoming meeting with other EU members later this week?
Well, the French and German leaders and the European political establishment have a long history of using any crisis, any excuse as a lever in order to push through more political union, and I think they probably will try and do that. But I would make the point that the summit on Thursday and Friday will be the 9th summit this year. Each one of these summits come out with some proposals. Each one of these proposals tend to have been greeted in a sort of friendly way by the market. And when it has sunk in how little these proposals do to actually do anything substantive or material to solve the crisis, the markets then plunge straight back. And I suspect that is what will happen this time. And I say this not in anger, but in sorrow for the peoples of Europe who are having to suffer because of the completely misplaced policies of their leaders, which seem to be, unfortunately, continuing.
Lord Dartmouth joining us on the line tonight from Brussels. Thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you, sir.